All right. I think I heard the magic recording in progress message. So that prompts me to welcome everybody. It is Tuesday, July 28th, 2026, and this is our July 2026 user group meeting. So excited to have everybody joining us. Can't believe it is already the end of July. I know for those of you with school age children, um, you're beginning to look towards school starting up. I know for my family personally, and shout out to Todd Hopkins if he's out there, um, football and cheerleading practice have started for the fall season. Um, and that was hard to believe. Had a little bit of a bumpy start yesterday. We have had some rain and our fields were closed, but we still gathered a bunch of folks together and kind of started that process. So, and then I'll put up my little logo here. There it comes. There we are. My beloved Pittsburgh Steelers are reporting to camp this morning as well. So if you mark your seasons by the start of those fall sports, whatever they may be, I know a lot of that is beginning to get cranked up, which is hard to believe. And we're just a few weeks out from colleges starting, schools starting, which is crazy. Got some interesting stuff going on this summer. I think we might have some time for some questions if we have any that we need to handle here towards the end. A little bit lighter user group meeting, and I'll describe that here in a minute. But definitely wanted to check in with you guys today. So always appreciate Kim and Tony and Bree. Kim for welcoming us, and Bree and Tony for joining us and really helping us with our Q&A session there behind, excuse me, behind the scenes. It is a group effort for sure to make this entire program run. And certainly it's a group effort for the buyer user group meeting, and definitely appreciate everybody being on and helping us this morning. So my point with that is we've knocked the first item off the agenda. That's the welcome. If you're watching this as a recording, Kim usually has something fun to discuss, kind of brings everybody in and has a warm welcome. We do not put that on the recording. But if you get a chance to join us live, please do that. Please do that if you get that opportunity. And again, as always, if you miss this, we get this video posted pretty quick and sent out to our user group members so they can watch after the fact. Just like I said, a couple things today. We got some program updates, a couple light demonstrations to show you all today. So definitely have some content for you and some things I want to go through with you guys today. This is a screen, pretty much say it every time we have a user group meeting. Our release management section here. I think Tony and Dave just had something that posted. I think our most recent release notes have gone up. I say this a lot too. Those release notes can be a little detailed. But for those of you who like to get in and find out every little nook and cranny and everything we're doing here in EVA, that's always a great page to check out for all the various release notes. We pretty regularly have monthly releases, sometimes around the Christmas holiday and things like that. Sometimes over the summer, we'll stretch them out, depending on what's going on. But in the grand scheme of things, I would argue there's probably 10 or so 10 plus formal releases throughout the year. And certainly those notes are located there. And then, as always, a chance to plug our EVA tips that are out on the website. And there's actually one I will reference, a newer one that's out there that I'll reference today as we go through some of our user group content. Let's drive right into those updates I was talking about. Program updates or EVA updates. A couple things that have been happening since we last gathered back in May. And this is one of the things I'm going to demo for you guys today. The ability to search for requisitions by deactivated users. And again, right now that's requisitions by deactivated users. But once you can pull up a requisition from a user who's maybe retired or left your agency, or for moved on to another role within your agency where they're not an EVA user anymore, um, this gives you the ability to search for requisitions by those deactivated users. So once you can get to a rec, you can get to an order, you can get to a receipt, all the other things that are connected to that requisition and subsequent order. So hopefully making it a little bit easier for you guys to hunt down historical transactions. And I'll show you that today. We'll give you a little look at that today. There's a new analytics area that I'm also going to show you today. It's agency EVA metrics. It's kind of hidden. So I'll point that out to you guys. It's in production, and it's in a new section. And hopefully over the next couple of months, we'll continue to add some interesting metrics to that page. So we'll go over to that today from a demonstration perspective and let you guys have a look at our this new little dashboard / report that we've put up. The other thing, and I'll touch on this when we go into EVA, just as a reminder, but the global search, there is, if you go, when you log right into EVA, and again, when I bring up the page and we do some demonstrating, I'll show you guys this. But there's a global search function right off the main page when you log in. And it really, if you type in transaction IDs, like a PO number or a rec number, type in a title, type in a supplier name, it does a search across all of EVA to kind of pull back results, and trying to find what you're searching for. So it can do contracts and sourcing events and receipts and recs and POs, and really kind of a handy one-stop search. For whatever reason, in the June patch, speaking of the releases that we do, and the June release that we put in, that function got turned off for recs, PO, basically P2P. So, recs, POs, receipts, invoices. It just got disabled. We fixed that back on July 23rd. So that global search is back and turned on, and very sorry for that happening. It's just one of those things with when you package together all the stuff you're going to do in a system, as large as what we have here in EVA. Just a mistake there when that got put together. So again, that got fixed on July 23rd. So got that taken care of. Another thing that's been going on in our world, and this is really the function itself has been around. And I want to talk about this with you guys here for a minute, just conceptually what it is. And I know occasionally a supplier will send one of these to you. And typically y'all aren't very happy about it when they come in. But suppliers have the ability in EVA to do what's called advanced shipping notices. And that's a fancy name for saying it's a supplier created receipt. So what a supplier can do in their account when they receive a PO, once a requisition, has been fully approved and the purchase order generates, it flows over to the supplier account, and our suppliers can log in and they can pull up that PO. They can send it to their order entry system. They can print it out. They can email it to themselves, whatever they want to do. But one of the things they're able to do with those purchase orders is they have an option to send you a shipping notice. So they can click that and, send back what basically becomes a receipt. And on their side, they're seeing it as an advanced shipping notice. Haven't really leveraged that functionality. It's not something we talk with our suppliers about a whole lot. A lot of times, certainly from a kind of the buying side of EVA, we like to control that receiving process. We really don't have any interest in having our suppliers do that. We have roles and folks within our own organizations that once an item or goods or a service is performed, that we go ahead and do the receiving here on the buying side, and we kind of handle that. But again, it is something that is out there from a functional perspective. One of the things we did find out is that those of you that are in the central receiving role, meaning you can receive for multiple divisions across your agency or a select set of department or divisions. We call them sites. We have central receivers to, you're not necessarily, or you are not the requester on the rec or purchase order, but you're in a receiving role, and that's what you do for your agency. Well, we had found out that these advanced shipping notices, our central receivers didn't have access to them. So these advanced shipping notices would come in, and our central receivers couldn't take any action against the advanced shipping notices. You basically had to reach out to EVA customer care. You had to reach out to, and excuse me, my dog is barking. Go on, buddy. Get out of here. My dog was at my feet and decided he needed to bark. Now he is out of the room. Um, but that we figured out that central receivers couldn't get access and couldn't do anything to these advanced shipping notices or these supplier created receipts. And you'd have to reach out to customer care or an account exec or to our team, somebody with admin privileges, and we'd have to go in and take care of that for you. So we have fixed that. Central receivers now have access to that. We also, without realizing it, caused a little problem, that when these advanced shipping notices came in, every central receiver in the agency got an email that one was in there. So we had a lot of complaints from our central receivers. Hey, this isn't mine. I'm not sure why I'm getting this notice. So we basically caused a lot of problems with that. So we've rectified that situation where the email notice is not going out any longer. But certainly, if a central receiver needs to get to an advanced shipping notice that a supplier created or take action, they can do that. Quite honestly, here within our own agency, here at DGS, as we've continued to expand and roll out our use of the invoicing module, we've found the central receiving option to be very beneficial. And my dog he's slammed through my office door and has joined me again. But we have found in some cases the advanced shipping notice process to be beneficial. So there are a handful of suppliers that we are reaching out to specifically talk to them about the advanced shipping notice feature. And we have found, just to kind of give you a high level example, that for our very complex purchase orders around services, right? So a service that's being performed for us, that having the supplier send us an advanced shipping notice as they knock hours out of maybe a much larger PO. So maybe the PO has been cut for 1,000 hours and they're sending us, kind of an interim receipt because, okay, I did 40 hours of work. They can send us that advanced shipping notice for the 40 hours. We then, and one of the cool things about the supplier created receipts is that you can approve them or deny them. They don't just automatically process. So, we would receive that notice of the 40 hours being worked. We would confirm, yes, I agree that those 40 hours were worked. You can then just simply approve the receipt, and then that completes the receiving, for that, particular amount that was utilized. So they do have some value. They are growing a little bit. We are doing some very targeted outreach to certain suppliers about them. But I wanted to sit on this particular topic just for a few minutes, as that is something that was going on. All right. So again, if that's not something you're interested in using, or it's I just wanted to make you aware. And again, we're not doing any real global, large scale outreach about that function to our supplier community, but it is out there. It is out there. So just something I wanted to make everybody in this community aware of. And certainly, if it's not something that you want your suppliers doing, reach out to the supplier and tell them to stop. Tell them to cease and desist. That's not something your agency is interested in participating in. It is an extra step for the supplier. So if that's something you want out of your suppliers, hey, don't use that option. They're maybe playing, clicking around, they send it by mistake. Please just do that outreach and just ask them not to do it, because it is an extra step at the end of the day for them. All right. So that's the advanced shipping notice stuff. And again, thank you for hearing me out on that one with some things that are going on. If you have any questions, just let us know. Happy to tackle anything you might have around that particular topic. Moving right along with our updates, a couple other little changes that we've made. I hope you've seen this. If you guys get like the VIP newsletter, it's updated on the EVA webpage as well. We did, if you guys have been with us for a while, or if you have a staff member that's recently taking any of our virtual instructor-led training, or any the free training that we have on EVA, where you or your staff comes and they sign up, and there's some online components that they go through, and then there's some virtual, like some live instructor-led training that these folks can go through. That when we did the transition to the new platform back in 2022, we had various roles and all sorts of things, and you would kind of pick your learning path and you would get on that path depending on what you did. Well, we've really now just kind of done some improvements, made some done some work around making that more efficient. Our VIP team, and if Jen Boyles, has worked with us on that and really put a lot of effort into that, and really broken down training now into two levels. There are essentials, which are some of the basics about EVA and getting in, and then fundamentals, which takes it a step further and really deep dives, sourcing and contracting and some things like that. So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. It doesn't change what we are training. I mean, we've still got to teach you requisitioning and ordering, and there's a catalog component, and there's contract management, and there's sourcing, and all the various things we do. But it's just delivered in what we hope you'll find is an improved and more concise manner. So if you or your staff needs to go take EVA training, head over to the EVA homepage. You eventually get on our DPSs. We have a learning management system. You jump on that, you sign up for classes, you do some prerequisite stuff, you take your training. And if you need to move out of level 1, you move out of level 1 and you go to level 2. All right. So again, just wanted to make everybody aware that some changes have been made there, and would appreciate your feedback on that, what everybody thinks. Certainly we feel like that's simplified some things, kind of improved that process, and hopefully you and your staff feel the same way if they come to do any EVA training. And then the last thing, and potentially why, you heard me earlier say, hey, it's a little bit lighter user group today. I don't have tons and tons of things to go over. We are, quite honestly, right in the middle of doing a point release upgrade. We are currently on version 180. We are going to be moving to version 182. So a very small leap. And our product, iValua, does it. They do, 68, 70, 72, 74, 76, 78, 80, 82. So we're just getting on the most recent version that's out there, which is 182. And so we're only doing one little jump from 180, which we are on now, to 182. The good news for you guys, this should be very, very transparent to your user community. We are expecting an incredibly low impact. Quite the user interface, what you see, what you and your users see when they log in, is not changing. The way you cut a rec, cut an order, do a receipt, do invoicing, look at suppliers, look at contracts, all that stuff, shop. There are really, really, really no major changes there. Maybe some little tweaks here and there. Truly, this is about us and being in the environment and product that we're on, staying current. It helps us with support. It improves our security. It introduces some new functions for us. But again, when we do these little mini point release upgrades, think about like your iPhone, right? If you guys have an iPhone or an Android phone, or even your maybe work laptop or a personal laptop, you do these upgrades. It adds some patching in, maybe some minor adjustments, but it's very incremental, not monumental, like what we put you guys through last year when we went from 168 to 180. So again, we're expecting a very, very low impact. However, there are some new things that'll be coming in. And assuming our testing and everything goes well, we'll be scheduling probably more towards later August, a special overview session of the upgrade. And we'll be kind of telling you what we've done, what type of progress we've made, and then discussing a few of the improvements and maybe anything else we need to point out to you. Again, I can't stress enough, guys, you don't need to be retrained. You and your staff won't need to be retrained. Recs, POs, receiving, invoicing, contracting, sourcing, you're a lot of times it's going to be very transparent to you and your user base. All right. So, it's not quite as significant as what we did last year. So that's all good news. I also had the opportunity, Tony and I had the opportunity to spend some time at an a state e-procurement summit. So the other 50 states getting an opportunity to gather together and talk e-procurement. And what that means and where everybody's at in their life cycle. There are several states that are on Evalua, and two of them, Arizona and Ohio, have recently gone through the 182 upgrade. Arizona has been on 182 for about 6 months. And Ohio just literally about a month ago wrapped up their 182 upgrade. And they said the same thing. It's like, it's not a big deal. Got a little testing, make sure things are good, and really for your user community, an incredibly, incredibly minor overall impact to your user community. So we're real happy to see that. Again, if you've been to some user groups and you've heard us talk about this before, when we came off the 180 upgrade, for those of you that were around during that period of time, it was March of 25. So a little over a year. The system was literally down. Eva was not available for about a week, maybe a little bit longer, like not a good situation. But one of the lessons learned from that was our team, our contractor in CGI, we had to be more committed to doing regular upgrades pretty much on an annual basis. And that's what we've committed to. And lo and behold, we're hearing feedback from peer states that it truly is a low impact. Both Arizona and I think Arizona actually moved from 178 to 182. And Ohio did what we're going to do, 180 to 182. And both of those states mentioned very low impact your users. That's just going to be business as usual. So we're excited. But again, look in your email about 2 weeks before we get that session scheduled. It'll be user group style to kind of go over the upgrade and hopefully I have some cool things to share. Like there's, hopefully there's some bells and whistles that'll make your life easier beyond just, oh, we improved our security and we're on a more recent version, so it helps us with support. Hopefully there'll be a few bells and whistles I'll be able to share with you to help you out for that. So that's the 182. And Kim came off camera, so that means there's probably a question.
No, actually, I just wanted to maybe set a few expectations, maybe give a date out
Sure, go
and
for it.
then that
Please.
way, yeah. So, like Shane mentioned, it should be kind of this low impact type of scenario, but we want to keep everybody up to date and communicate. So we did have a question for anyone who's been tapped as an external tester. You know who you are. Shane will be sending an email
Yeah,
communication
I'll
to
be
you
reaching
next
out to you.
week.
Yeah.
And then we do have the announcement that'll go out when everything is, staged and like we're getting ready to have
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
upgrade. So prior to
I'll
that, we're going to have
announce
the
Yeah, I'll
user
announce
group.
some
Yep.
production dates, or Kim, quite honestly, will announce some production dates. If you're wondering who sends those lovely messages, it's typically her.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll announce like some, when the production weekend's going to be, like when we actually do
Yep.
the
So come to the
migration.
user group.
Yeah.
It's scheduled right now for the week of the 24th. I think we're going to maybe do it on that Tuesday. We're going to look at our dates,
Yeah.
but an invitation
Yeah.
will go out probably the week of the 10th or the week prior. I know that school's starting back on the 24th, so it's not going to be on Monday. It's not going to be a Monday morning for any of us that have school age kids, including Shane and myself. So,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
then we will definitely make sure that we're communicating any enhancements,
Yes.
security benefits. And then you'll also, if you have any solicitations that are going to be closing around the upgrade or update time, we're going to be communicating directly to you that might have solicitations that will be closing during or around that go live time, so that you'll be encouraged to look at the option to maybe move that close date. So we just got all of those communications that will be happening, and this will be part of our regular process when we have to do an update, so that everybody can feel very confident in what's happening when, and that we're trying to be as transparent as possible.
Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. So more to come. More to come on that. Hopefully here it'll all be good news. That's what we're planning on. But we'll set those dates as we get comfortable. Our team has not started testing yet, but it's coming soon, and we will kind of roll from there for our getting our testing done and getting this rolled out to everybody. So excited about that. Excited about that. All right. So the last little part here we're going to do, I got just a couple very brief demonstrations for you. I want to show you the search for recs created by deactivated users. Contract notification date field for you contract managers. That has some importance. I want to make you aware of that and also show you where a buyer tip is around that. And then I want to show you the agency EVA metrics, this analytics. So those are the things. That's really what we're going to wrap up with today. So I'm going to stop sharing ever so briefly. I'm going to end my slideshow here on my screen. I'm going to move that over here so that I don't forget what I wanted to show you guys. And then I am going to reshare my browser. There we go. Make sure that comes up. All right. So now I am in the EVA homepage. Let me move my camera out of the way here so I can, there we go, so that I can show you some stuff. That global search I was talking about is right here. If you're unaware, the reason we knew it was not functioning is because we heard from so many of you that it was not functioning. So we're glad that everybody, or a lot of you, are using this function. So if I search here in global search, there you go. So I search for Blue Ridge Fence, and you'll notice suppliers, contracts, and yay, purchase requisitions and orders and catalog items and all sorts of fun stuff come up for my good friends. If you've been doing user groups for a while, that's my favorite little Shenandoah Valley company located in Mount Sydney, Virginia, Blue Ridge Fence and Window. So for all your fencing and window need. Um, Shameless plug there. That is an old family business that was in my family for a number of years that my grandfather ran back in the day out of the Shenandoah Valley. But the idea here with this is that I think maybe the supplier search was coming back, but the rec and order stuff was not. The rec and order stuff was not, but that is back and functioning. And if you just looked at that today and went, wow, that's cool. It is. It's really cool. You can type in, oh, I think I know that supplier, or do they have orders or contracts? And you get so many great results from the supplier profile, contracts, the recs, the orders. You get some really cool things back. It's a neat search. And even though we were very sad that that search was not functioning, we were very happy to hear that so many of you were using it. So we were glad to get that back online, and moving. So let's go to our search for rec by deactivated users, just so you guys can see this. Again, we heard from the field, hey, we particularly around managing requisitions and finding old things. When somebody retires, when somebody changes jobs or roles and they're no longer an EVA, when somebody leaves your agency entity, we have to go in and we deactivate and really logically delete. We set that user to delete it, right? We get them out of the system. Now their data is still there. We don't delete transactions. We don't even delete the user profile itself. But certainly we take them out so that those individuals can't log in any longer. But what that does is, if you really know the person and not the transactions, it makes it a little bit harder to find those transactions. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to. I apologize. You are a troublemaker. Come here. Out. Out. Oh my goodness. There he goes. Have to get him out. So sorry about that. We have should pull back the curtain a little bit. We got in November, late November, an English bulldog to go with our French bulldog. He is still a puppy. He was spending some time with me and he was being nice. And then he decided, I have some furniture back there. He decided to go attempt to chew on said furniture. So I had to kick him out. He's a cutie. Love him to death, but oh boy, he's a big 60-pound puppy. So sorry about that. A little bit of, pulling the curtain back and behind the scenes. I am at remote today, and I'll be in the office tomorrow and Thursday, but was remote today. So, all that fun stuff with your dogs. All right, back to it here. All right, let's browse for Rex created. And I'm glad, boy, that'll be on video for eternity. Let's do some requisition browse and do the deactivated user. Get that out of there. All right, so I'll pop over here. You would go to the requester field. Oh, you can see I was playing with this because I'm Benita. If you're out there, the user group, hi. I'm using Benita Jones as my example because Benita used to work for us here on the EVA team. So you can search, and let me clear that out. The easiest way to do this, I know Benita is no longer with us, and she wouldn't come up in this drop down list except in her new role. Again, keeping in mind I'm an admin and can kind of see across the entire enterprise. But if I was here and had a standard DGS role and I tried to search for Benita, she's not going to come up on this list because she is no longer at DGS. But I know she used to work for me. I need to pull some of her transactions that she has done. So I can go over here and you go into See All, which pulls a user screen. And you'll want to remove, I have a limit to, actually, I'm going to leave the limit to my org up. And you can remove the active status here. And then you can go in and you can do a login status. And I'm going to go ahead and do delete. And you can do multiples. And then I can come down to get that in there as my status. And then I can do and hit search. And then her two DGS IDs, she had two. She had one. This is really one that we give to all of our folks that work on the EVA team. They have the ability to do like, production project work. And then as she transitioned into a purchasing role, she then had this ID because she did do some purchasing for us. So I'm going to use this one because I know she does. She actually did agency purchasing for us. So I can select Benita and hit search. And again, noticing that's her DGS ID. And she is in a deleted status, and I can hit search. And then Benita's transactions show up right there. And you can see the dates on these. They go back to 24 and 23 and 22. So some things that she did for us. All right. And then we had some big orders there, Benita. And then she also, there's one for the supply room that she cut for us back in 22. But the point with this is if you need to do that search, you're coming into Browse Recs, you're going to the requester, you're doing see all, you're navigating to this, and then you're coming in here, keying in whoever it is, and coming and picking the status. And you can use those deleted, disabled, all those other statuses to then be able to search and pull those transactions. So just wanted to show everybody that today, give you a little fighting chance for those individuals that are no longer EVA users in your organization. All right. And hi, if Benita's out there, hope you're doing well. Let me move to the next one here, the contract notification date field. There is a field, and I don't know if folks are aware of it. I'm just going to pull. I guess it really doesn't matter. I'll just pull. I'm just in production. I'm going to hit browse contracts. I'm just going to pull this contract up. When you create a contract, be it standalone or if you're doing an award off of the sourcing event, one of the areas you're filling out on a contract record is the contract header. And you're putting in all sorts of stuff from the contract name to any outside IDs, to, making sure there's a proper supplier, your begin date and end date on that contract. This looks like it's a 6-year deal that's been out there for, from this particular agency. Again, not looking to pick on anybody. I just want to show you this date. When I go down here, and in this case, it's not filled out, there is a renewal schedule and a notification date field. If you want to be notified prior to the end date of your contract, you can enter a date in there. And you notice there's a little hover over, and it's kind of giving you a tip. And that the date should be prior or equal to contract end date or actual end date of that contract. You will then, the system will give you an email notice that, hey, you got a contract that's expiring. So, it's a manually keyed in date. There's no real magic to it. You don't have to fill it out, as you can see in this particular example. But if you'd like that email notice to go out to warn you that you have an expiring contract, this is the date you would fill in. All right. So I just wanted to show you that. One of the keys to this, though, is that when you do a renewal or you do a contract amendment, this date does not automatically update. You need to have your eyes on it. All right. So when you're doing a renewal, you're doing an amendment, you're doing a correction, it's one of the areas that you need to come in and look at and make sure you got a date that's going to work for you. Because one of the things that we have noticed that has been happening is either this date hasn't been set, which is fine, or this date is set on the original version of the contract, and then it's never touched again. And so you might do multiple renewals, and you've got a notification date field that goes back to 2023, 2024. It's not doing you any good. It's just sitting there in the past. So again, something I want you to be conscious of. If you want a little bit more help and tips on this, I'll shift over here. Tracy Robinson put together a nice little tip for us on this back in June. Best practice when setting the contract's notification date. So if you want a little bit more training on that, that is also a shameless plug for our buyer tip area. And that just has, it can walk you through some best practices and some things when you're using that notification date field. But the big thing I want you to be conscious of, totally fine. You don't have to use it. No harm, no foul. But if you do fill this date field in, you do have to manually keep up with it. So if you do a renewal, just make sure that's one of the areas you're checking so that you're updating that date field to get that notification and tying it to the renewal end date of your contract. All right. So just wanted to show you guys that today. And then the last thing we're going to go over is kind of a little Easter egg that we buried here as we're beginning to play with and hopefully begin to release over the next several months more and more enterprise-wide analytics. As if you scroll, most of you, if you're just on your general homepage right after you log in, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, and I got all sorts of stuff here, there is this useful links. You'll see this useful links widget has popped in. And I have one useful link for you guys, and it's the EVA metrics analysis that we put in. So if you click on this, and any of you guys can do this, would totally love y'all to go in and play around with this a little bit. It will launch an EVA metrics, and let me get this. So this is for DGS, so it goes to my home agency, and you guys will be limited to your home agency as well. Right now, my periods, it's doing 2025 and 2026. So it's giving me kind of a high level look at what my agency for this particular example has done over the last 2 calendar years. So you get a little information above. This shows you how busy DGS is. 13,656 orders over that 2-year period. We are approving those orders, and this is everything on average in about 2.9 days. So a little under 3 days, we're getting our requisitions fully approved and those orders generated. You can see our order volume by month. So, like I said, busy little agency we got here. And there's July, which we're almost done with July. So 742 purchase orders in July, adding to that total count there. Notice those counts match up. Also got a little chart about sourcing projects. I'm sorry, that might be a little small, but you can see our small ones, what we consider a small sourcing, our competitive and sealed bid, and you can kind of get a feel for that throughout the year. And actually going back 2 years in this case. Actually, you know what? Just for kicks and grins, just so my chart, let me and I can knock out that old year. There we go. That shrinks us up. That makes those charts a little bigger too. So in 2026, 5,181 orders, taking a little bit longer to get those approved. But again, the same idea with the counts, and you can probably see those. And then that one is those notice only, like maybe a emergency, sole source, something like that we put up. That's a notice only. So we've only did one of those in July. It looks like we already got something closing in August here, and that's a competitive sealed bid proposal. That must be closing up in August at some point. So we got one kind of sitting out there. So you get some cool stuff there. This one, we're still looking at the contracts one. This is basically telling you how many contracts we signed, and I don't know that it has much value. That's not very exciting to me. And it also, I'm questioning the accuracy of this one a little bit. So the contracts one, if you guys, actually I'll put a little challenge out to the field, and I know we're getting close on time. I thought we would get to questions, but boy, Shane can talk, can he? Kind of putting this out to you guys. If you have a metric you'd like to see for contracts, what would be helpful? We'd like to tweak this one and improve that one for you a little bit. And then if you get down here, now again, hey, kudos to DGS. Look at all those invoices. We've done 4,306 invoices. Woo-hoo. So we're doing good on the invoice front here in 2026. And you can kind of see we did 283 invoices here in July. We still got a little bit more time. We did 667 back in June. You get the idea. And look at our invoice amount. Ooh, that's big money. That's awesome. That's awesome. So hats off to all my guys, the DGS, procurement shop, DGS, accounts payable. They're kicking butt and knocking it out here with these invoices. But again, you get the idea. This ability to track kind of at a very high level what's going on. A couple other things I'll show you here as we wrap up here in the next 2 minutes. Our top suppliers, we must have had a massive order there that was going on. But you get the idea. Colonial Scientific as far as counts. And then down here, I think this is kind of cool too. This is a breakdown of all our divisions, departments. Again, you'll hear us call it sites, and you get an idea where your volume are on a site perspective, kind of across. So again, this area really kind of just like a high level dashboard. Would love your feedback around what sort of metric at a high level, at an agency level, would make sense from a contract perspective. I think what we're doing now, it's like, okay, great, you signed something. Like, I don't know that has much value. But again, if you have something that you think would be valuable, let us know, and we can tweak this. We also hope, and I know we're right up at 10:59. We also hope that there's over the next couple months a few more of these metrics and kind of reports that we'll release at an enterprise level. So again, let us know if this has value. We'd love to hear from you. So with that, I know I have come up on 11 a.m. I appreciate your time today. The next thing that is coming up will be our little upgrade overview, which we'll be excited to do. And again, just watch your email inboxes for that. As we get comfortable in the new environment, we'll reach out, get that booked, and we'll do that with you.
Yeah, we're looking at the week of August the 24th, as mentioned before, and we want to make sure that we don't over communicate. So we just want to know when we have like firm dates. We're looking at mid-September for everything to go live, so things may adjust.
That's
so
all tentative.
Yes, all tentative. Right. So when we have official dates, that's when we'll actually share it out. And great. Tony, you wanted to be able to answer a question about the training site update with the global search bar. You wanted to answer that, so I just wanted to give you the floor.
Oh, yes. The training site and UAT sites are always updated along with production. So that has been updated on the training site, and I double checked it while we were waiting here. So it's working on there.
Perfect.
That's awesome. Thank you, Tony. And thank you, Tony and Bree, as always, for answering all those questions.
There was lots of questions today.
Good.
So thank you.
I know they are furiously busy in the background doing that. So it is so appreciated.
And thank you for taking time out to join us today. We will hopefully see you in August for our special user group related to the update for the system to 182. And until then, we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody.